Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I like books. Do you like books? I am a resident bookworm in this house and I thought I would do a video on what is on my reading list at the moment. So if you would like to see more about these books and maybe hear a little bit more about them to see if they're for you, then keep watching. Now, another thing I feel like I have to say before I start this video is that if you didn't know, myself, Rebecca, Mrs. Meldrum and Katie Ellison have started up a book club. Now, we're calling it #MAMASBOOKCLUB just because we're not very inventive and come up with anything else, but you don't have to be a mum, so if you're watching this, please don't be deterred at all because it's not like that. But we have started a book club and what we're going to do every month is choose a book at the start of the month and then we've all got a month to read it together, and then what we're going to be doing is at the end of the month we're going to do a Instagram live where two of us out of the three, is going to alternate each month, so someone gets like a month off, so to speak, are going to have like a live about it, and you're all welcome to come and join us, and you can like send messages to us, tell us what you thought, and we can all have a proper discussion about what we thought about the book. And the idea is that we all get to indulge and read a bit more. It forces us to kind of read, doesn't it? Because I find it really hard with three kids sometimes. I love books, I mean, it's obvious, but I don't always actually put aside the time to read because I'm always thinking, oh, well, I should do chores instead, or I'll just watch telly because it's easier, and I really enjoy reading. So this has already helped me because I've actually already finished Argh's book, which I will show you in a moment. But yeah, if you do want to join in, then just head on over to Instagram, and if you search for #MAMASBOOKCLUB, you'll find everyone else that's joining in as well, and you can just, you know, be a part of our little bookworm community. But let's talk about these books. So I guess the obvious choice would be the book that we're actually reading for August, and we have chosen The Widow by Fiona Barton. And what I'm going to do for every book is read out the blurb, and then you can decide whether it is for you, and I will leave links down below in the description bar of every book that I've mentioned, so if you do want to go and like have a nosy elsewhere, you can do. But let's dig in. So we've all seen him, the man, the monster, staring from the front page of every newspaper, accused of a terrible crime. But what about her? The woman who grips his arm on the courtroom stairs, the wife who stands by him. Jean Taylor's life was blissfully ordinary. Nice house, nice husband. Glenn was all she'd ever wanted, her Prince Charming. But then he became that monster on the front page, a man everyone thought capable of an unimaginable evil. Now Glenn is dead, and she's alone for the first time, free to tell her story on her own terms. Jean Taylor is going to tell us what she knows, and I'm not going to say anything about it because I will save that for when we do our live, but definitely worth picking up, especially if you like a thriller, that kind of thing. I'm really into books like this, as you'll probably tell from the stash on my knee. Now next up is this one, and I've seen loads about this over on like social media and elsewhere. It was the book of the year for Books on My Bag Readers Awards 2017, and then it's also been mentioned on the Zoe Ball Book Club on ITV, so definitely worth checking out. And it is basically a behind the scenes life of a junior doctor, and I believe it's actually a true story, and it details his 97-hour weeks, life and death situations, a constant tsunami of bodily fluids, and yeah, basically it's just giving a real big insight into the NHS. And I am a big fan of the NHS. It has done amazing things for me and my family, and I think it's really worth reading. Apparently it's as hilarious as it is heartbreaking, so we will see how I get on with that one. It's definitely out of my comfort zone because I am definitely more of a thriller reader or a chick lit reader, but I'm really excited to get reading this. Next up is this one, and it's The Rose Petal Beach by one of my most favourite authors, Dorothy Comson, and I have read I think I've actually read all of her books to date, and I absolutely love them. I think she's a fantastic author, and her books are very interesting because some of them can be based around relationships and friendships, and then some of them are a little bit darker as well, and I really have enjoyed reading every single one. Her main protagonists as well aren't just your typical white woman either, like middle class white woman, and her stories are just breathtakingly beautiful, really well written, and I'm just gripped every single time I read them. You can tell I really like her. But let me read you the blurb. So, I could kill them for what they've done to me. I said those words and I meant them at the time, but what would you do? What would you say if your husband was accused accused of something terrible, and the accuser is someone you trusted with your life. That doesn't mean I wanted this to happen. I didn't want anyone to get hurt, and I didn't want to be scared that every knock on the door is going to be the police coming to take me away. What's going to happen to my children? What's going to happen to me? My name is Tamia Charlie, and this is my story, and I'm really excited. Can you tell? I'm taking this one on holiday with me this week, so yeah. This next one is an international bestseller, and it's called Little Fires Everywhere, and it's by Celeste. I don't know how to say her surname, Nug. I don't know, I'm not sure, but it's meant to be so good. Everybody that I've heard that has read this has raved about it, and it is basically this: are we ready? In the placid progressive suburb of Shaker Heights, everything is meticulously planned, from the colours of the houses to the successful lives its residents will go. From the colours of the houses to the successful lives its residents will go on to lead, and no one embodies this spirit more than Eleanor Richardson. Mia Warren, an enigmatic artist and single mother, arrives in this idyllic bubble with her teenage daughter Pearl and rents a house from the Richardsons. Soon Mia and Pearl become more than just tenants. All 4 Richardson children are drawn to the alluring mother-daughter pair, but Mia carries with her a disregard for the rules that threatens to upend this carefully ordered community. When the Richardsons' friends attempt to adopt a Chinese-American baby, a custody battle erupts that dramatically divides the town and puts Mia and Mrs. Richardson on opposing sides. Mrs. Richardson becomes determined to uncover the secrets in Mia's past, but her obsession will come at an unexpected and devastating cost to her own family and Mia's. And I think it sounds really like fascinating. I like the fact that it's more of like a drama read rather than say a thriller, but there's still a story and a secret to unearth, which really like, you know, does it for me when it comes to books. Now the next one is actually written by an amazing lady that I've had the pleasure of meeting. Now if you followed me for any length of time, I was actually on Giovanna Fletcher's podcast back when Stanley was about 6 weeks old, I think, and her husband Tom have written this book, and it's called The Eve of Man, and it sounds amazing. I've had it for a while, but I've just not had the chance to read it yet, and I'm so excited because listen to this. All of her life, Eve has been kept away from the opposite sex, kept from the truth of her past. But at 16, it's time for Eve to face her destiny. 3 potential males have been selected for her. The future of humanity is in her hands. She's always accepted her fate until she meets Bram. Eve wants to control her own life. She wants freedom, but how do you choose between love and the future of the human race? Eve of Man is the first in an explosive new trilogy by best-selling authors Tom and Giovanna Fletcher. And oh my gosh, basically on the back it just says, against all odds she survived. The first girl born in 50 years, they called her Eve. And I'm just really excited to read this. It kind of reminds me a bit of, like, you know, like The Handmaid's Tale, that kind of vibe where like the future's very different, and it looks at like fertility and then like how many girls are born and that kind of thing, and I just think it'd be a really fascinating read. So that is probably quite high up in my next one to read as well. Then there's this one. Now, I've been on the fence with this one for quite a while, and if you can't see the cover, it is, of course, Eleanor Elephant is Completely Fine. And this seems to be like Marmite in the book community. There are women that I love that love this book, and there are women that I love that hate this book, and I am reading it as like a social experiment to see which one of those I am, because it sounds great. We'll blurb it, shall we? So, Eleanor Elephant leads a simple life. She wears the same clothes to work every day, eats the same meal deal for lunch every day, and buys the same 2 bottles of vodka to drink every weekend. Eleanor Elephant is happy. Nothing is missing from her carefully timetabled existence, except sometimes everything. Now, I'm really intrigued because it's giving me Bridget Jones's Diary vibes just from reading the blurb, and like everybody says it's like funny but also sad at the same time, and Bridget Jones's Diary was a bit like that in parts, wasn't it? But I don't know, like I'm never really fan of like those kind of protagonist stories where the woman's portrayed as like, oh, you know, she's a bit daft and she's a bit this and she's a bit that. Like, I prefer to read about like stronger characters, but then I am judging a book purely by its cover, and I am judging it by what other people have said as well. So I'm definitely going to give it a go, but I think it's going to take me a bit of a push to actually read it. Then this one is one that I've actually already read, but I really enjoyed it, and I would guess that this is more in the chick lit category, which I really enjoy when I go on holiday and things like that. And this is the Sunday Lunch Club, and it follows a family and their ups and downs and their stories, and they've all got individual stories and kind of links back to their parents and the way they were treated as children and that kind of thing. And it's really quite a beautiful read, to the point where I actually cried when I read this. Like, I really did cry at one part, and it was just like really lovely and very real. And like, yes, there's like drama in it, but I think every family has its own secrets, and sometimes it's quite nice to just go with the flow and open up to that when you read a book. But rather than read you the blurb, because I've read it, I can kind of give you a bit of a like overview. But basically it is this family, they meet up every so often. It might be every week, it might be every couple of weeks, every month, depending on how busy they are and how into each other they are. And they have a Sunday lunch club, and every single time they meet up, someone different will host, and there'll be different like menus, so you get to see the menu at the start, and each menu is very reflective of the person that is holding the Sunday lunch club that day. And the more it progresses, the more you learn about each member of that family, and more people start to come to the table as well, which is really lovely. And I just really enjoyed it. You get to find out a lot and like a few secrets and stuff, and I related to it as well because of what happens to one of the characters, but I won't say any more than that because it'll give the game away. And then finally is this one, and this is the one I've started reading most recently, so I thought I would end with this. But this is Watching You by Lisa Jewell, and if you remember, I think last time I did like a book haul type thing, I think I included Then She Was Gone, which was her other bestseller, which was a fantastic book. And this is her next one, and I've literally only just started it, you can see, but I'm already really excited. When I find an author that I really like, I tend to get really like giddy about their new books. So the blurb for this one is: you're not the only one watching. You're back home with a brand new husband in tow after 4 years working abroad. You're keen to find a place of your own, but for now you're living with your big brother camped out in his spare bedroom. And then, quite unexpectedly, you meet the man next door. He's the head teacher of the local high school, he's twice your age, and he's very attractive. Soon you find you're watching him all the time. But what you don't know is that someone's watching you. Or that what started as an innocent crush is quickly turning into an obsession, as dark as it is deadly. And I'm just, I don't know, that's right up my street. I love a bit of dark and deadly, and I'm really excited. It opened with a really sort of like whoa scene, but then obviously it's backtracked now, so I have no idea how we get to this scene, if that makes sense. And it almost feels like it started with what was nearly the end, and now we're back at the beginning. And I'm just really like, you know, when you're like, oh, I just want the kids to go to bed so I can read a bit more of this. But yeah, that is my little sort of reading list at the moment, and I hope you found this helpful. I know lots of you love to read as well, and I love sharing like books that I've read that I really enjoy. And if you've got any suggestions for me, or any suggestions for future Mama's Book Club reads, then leave them down below, because I would be so grateful. I will read anything and everything. Obviously I've got my favourite types of genre, but I'm really not like, you know, judgmental to all books. I'll give anything a go. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new, and check out the hashtag Mama's Book Club over on Instagram. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.